My mother told me a secret on my 18th birthday that ruined my life. My 18th birthday was supposed to be basic in the best way. Sheet cake from Walmart, red Solo cups, my best friend Anna screaming the lyrics to whatever was playing on the Bluetooth speaker. Nothing Instagrammable, but very me. Mom went all out anyway. Blue and silver balloons. Happy 18th Jace. Banner. Lasagna big enough to feed an army. She even wore lipstick, which only comes out for weddings and court dates. Around 9, the crowd thinned. People left with plates of cake wrapped in foil, promising they'd totally text. They wouldn't. Anna was helping herself to more wine in the living room. Mom was in the kitchen, rinsing dishes. Way too quiet. That's how I knew something was off. My mom is a chaos gremlin. She sings off key, yells at the TV, narrates her own cleaning like she's hosting a cooking show. But that night, she was silent. Just the faucet running and plates clinking. I grabbed a towel and started drying. You okay? She flinched like I'd caught her doing something wrong. Yeah, just tired. Big day. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I shrugged and kept drying. Well, I'm officially an adult now, in case you hadn't heard. She stared at the sink. That's actually why I need to talk to you. Dangerous sentence. That's the sentence parents use right before they tell you they're getting divorced, or you're adopted, or the dog didn't run away. He very much died. I tried to joke it off. If you're about to tell me we're secretly royalty, just know my standards are already too low to be fixed. She didn't laugh. Instead, she turned off the faucet, took the towel from my hands, and folded it very, very carefully. Then she leaned against the counter like her legs couldn't hold her up anymore. Jace, sit down, she said. I obeyed, mostly because I'd never heard her voice sound like that. Like someone else had reached into her chest and squeezed. She sat across from me at the tiny kitchen table. The balloons bobbed behind her, cheerful and stupid and completely wrong for whatever was about to happen. Her hands were shaking. She grabbed my birthday card, and the one she'd given me an hour ago with $50 tucked inside, and lined it up perfectly with the table edge. I was going to wait until after graduation, she said, but the lawyer said that would be worse, that the longer I waited, the more it would feel like a betrayal. I laughed once. A lawyer? Why do you have a lawyer? Did you tax fraud with my DoorDash money? Jace, my name came out like an apology. Please, just listen. The room went very small then. Just me, her, and the humming refrigerator. She reached across the table and took my hands like she'd done when I was a kid, and she had to tell me that Grandma died. Except this time, she said very quietly, I am not your mother, not legally. I stole you when you were a baby. Here's what I did not do when my mom told me she stole me. I did not scream. I did not faint. I did not flip the table like some reality show contestant flipping over catered salads. I laughed, like a full ugly snort laugh right in her face. Okay, I said. Yeah, sure. And I'm actually Beyonce's secret love child. Good one. Her eyes filled so fast it scared me. My mom cries at commercials, but this was different. This was grief. I'm serious, Jace. Her voice cracked. You were 6 weeks old. I took you from the hospital. You're not mine. My chest did a weird skipping thing. That's not funny. I know it's not funny, she said. It's a crime. My brain started throwing out files, desperate to prove her wrong. Exhibit A, the picture of her in a hospital gown, sweaty and smiling, holding me as a newborn. The one in a cheap frame on our mantle. You literally have a photo of you holding me in the hospital, I said. I've seen it my whole life, she swallowed. That's not a delivery room. It's the NICU waiting area. They let volunteers hold the babies sometimes. A nurse took that photo. Volunteers? My voice went sharp. You were a volunteer. I was a candy striper, she said. Like that explained the insanity. Exhibit B, my birth certificate, which mom had to submit for school registration and all that. I'd seen it. My name, her name, dad's name. Nice official seal. What about my birth certificate? I demanded. What, did you Photoshop the county clerk? Her shoulders slumped. Your father knew someone who could make documents. We paid him too much money to ask questions. She smiled bitterly. You've always been expensive. My stomach rolled. I thought of every time I told people I was born at County General. Every time I checked the box that said mother's maiden name, Lewis. Every time I filled out some form and never once considered I might be lying. I don't believe you, I said, standing up so fast the chair screeched. Why would you wait 18 years? Why now? She grabbed her phone off the table, hands fumbling as she opened an email and slid it toward me. It was from a law firm. Subject line, DNA match, missing infant case, Narrow 4, 1137. My eyes caught phrases as I scrolled, my fingers suddenly cold. Ancestry database, near perfect parent-child match, biological parent seeking contact, ongoing criminal investigation. I stopped at one line. We strongly advise informing the young adult prior to formal law enforcement contact. DNA, I repeated, and then my stomach dropped through the floor. The stupid spit tube. I'd done one of those mail-in DNA kits with Anna last year as a joke, to see if we were secretly royalty or related to serial killers. We'd laughed at the results and moved on, except apparently somewhere, a database had lit up like a Christmas tree. She found me, I whispered. My mouth couldn't form the word mother for someone else. Her name is Valerie, my mom said softly. She never stopped looking. The room tilted. Suddenly I was hyper aware of everything. The hum of the fridge, the drip of the faucet, the cheap balloon string brushing my shoulder. No, my whole life is a lie, I said. Mom flinched like I'd hit her. It's not all a lie. I fed you. I bathed you. I stayed up when you had fevers. You kidnapped me. She went quiet, then barely audible. Yes. Some part of me waited for cameras to burst in, for someone to yell, "You've been pranked," because that would make sense. This did not. Instead, my mom, maybe apparently not my mom, said, "They're coming tomorrow morning, detectives, and Valerie. I was supposed to tell you before then. Happy 18th, Jace. Enjoy your bonus level of identity crisis." I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, scrolling through my own photos like they belonged to someone else. Me in kindergarten with missing teeth. Me at 12 in braces. Me at 16 with a bad haircut. Everyone captioned in my head with "not supposed to be there, belongs somewhere else." Around 3 a.m., Anna texted, "You alive, birthday boy." I stared at the screen, thumbs hovering. My mom stole me from a hospital. Felt like a little much for a drunk text conversation, so I just replied, "Yeah, long talk. We'll call you tomorrow." At 7, there was a knock on the door. Not a neighbor knock, a cop knock, firm enough to rattle your skeleton. Mom was already up, sitting at the table in the same clothes, a cold cup of coffee in front of her. She looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. "I'll get it," she whispered. 2 detectives stepped in, all business casual and serious faces. Behind them, a woman about Mom's age and a man a little older. The woman clutched her purse like it was a flotation device. I knew it was her before anyone introduced us. She had my nose. "Jason," one of the detectives said. "I'm Detective Harris. This is Detective Monroe. These are Valerie and Daniel Price." Price. My last name was apparently Price. I just nodded because English had left the chat. Valerie took a step toward me and froze, like she'd hit an invisible fence. Her eyes scanned every inch of me like she was trying to memorize me and fast forward. Her voice broke. "Hi, She laughed weakly. "I don't even know what I'm allowed to say. I don't know the rules." "There are no rules," I said automatically, because apparently my mouth was on autopilot. We all sat, detectives at the ends of the table, parents, old and new version, on either side, me pinned in the middle like the world's worst centerpiece. Detective Harris cleared his throat. "Jason, first we need to say, you are not in any trouble. You are a victim. Legally, you are the victim of an abduction that occurred 18 years ago." He slid a folder toward me. In it, photocopies of missing posters, a baby's face, my face, infant son of Valerie and Daniel Price, taken from County General Hospital, reward offered. They looked like something from a documentary, not my life. "We reopened the case last year," Monroe said. "New technology. We sent DNA from Valerie and Daniel to several databases. When your ancestry results populated, the system flagged a parent-child match. The law firm contacted your Ms. Lewis here, and she retained counsel." Retained counsel. Fancy way of saying got a lawyer, because she is, in fact, extremely screwed. "Why didn't you tell someone?" I asked my mom. "Why didn't you take me back?" Her hands twisted in her lap. I tried once, when you were 2. I wrote a letter to the police, but then I pictured your face when they'd take you away, and I burned it in the sink. I told myself I was protecting you. She laughed bitterly. Selfishness always sounds better when you call it protection. Valerie flinched. You're not helping yourself, Ms. Lewis, Detective Harris said gently. I looked at Valerie, and something hot and ugly flared up. Did you know they were coming today? I asked her. Did you want to just take me? Tears spilled over. I don't want to take you, she said. I want to know you. We lost you at 6 days old. I wake up every night thinking. She stopped herself, pressing her lips together like she could physically hold the grief in. I'm sorry. This isn't fair to you. No, it's fine, I said, even though nothing about any of this was fine. We're here to figure out logistics, Monroe said. Legally, your birth certificate is fraudulent. Your social security number was obtained under false pretenses. We need to correct those records. Oh, good, I said. So my identity is not only stolen, it's also illegal. Awesome. Love that for me. Jason, Harris said, we'll assist you through the process of getting proper documents in your legal name. Which is... I asked, faintly hysterical. Because I've got Jason Lewis on everything from my library card to my PS5 account. Are we rewriting that too? Silence. Your legal name is Jason Price, Monroe said finally. But how you live, what you go by, we can talk about that down the line. I thought about my college applications, my scholarships, FAFSA, every form that said, I certify under penalty of perjury this information is true. If my documents are fake, I said slowly, does that mean my scholarship? Mom inhaled sharply. They can't take his scholarship, he worked his ass off. The school will have to be notified, Harris said. They'll probably need updated documentation. We'll provide letters explaining the situation, but ultimately, it's up to them. So, in one conversation, I managed to become a kidnapping victim, the owner of a fake name, and possibly no longer a future college student. 18 was really working overtime to live up to its reputation. News travels fast in small towns. News about stolen babies travels at light speed. By that afternoon, our house was surrounded by vans from every local station, plus at least one person live streaming to TikTok from their car like, y'all, I think the kidnapped baby is in there. Anna showed up, shoved her way through the crowd, and nearly tackled me in the doorway. What the hell, Jace? She demanded, eyes wide. You couldn't text, hey, BTW, I was abducted as an infant, burb? I sagged against her, laughing and choking at the same time. Sorry, my bad. Got distracted by the existential collapse of my entire identity. She pulled back and cut my face. Are you okay? No, I said honestly, but also, yes, but also no again. It's like my feelings are on shuffle. Inside, Mom was at the table with her lawyer. A tired woman in a gray blazer who looked like she'd seen every flavor of human mess and was unimpressed by all of them. You can't talk to reporters, the lawyer was saying. Anything you say publicly can be used in court. In court? I repeated. They're actually going to... Yes, she said, turning to me. Your mother, Ms. Lewis, is likely facing multiple charges. Kidnapping, fraud, possibly obstruction. It's serious. She's my mom, I snapped. The word came out before I could stop it. You can't just... She is your abductor, the lawyer corrected, gently but firmly. She is also the woman who raised you. Both can be true. The court doesn't do well with gray areas, but humans have to. Mom flinched like the word abductor was a slap. Valerie and Daniel had gone back to their hotel after the morning circus, promising the detectives they wouldn't approach me without permission. They'd left a number, a hotel, a possible future. Their lives sounded like a different planet. Suburbs, 2 younger kids, my siblings apparently, college funds, family photos without me in them. I should have been there all along, but if I had, I wouldn't be me. Do I have to testify? I asked the lawyer. Maybe, she said. They might want your statement about growing up here, what you were told. But if you don't want to cooperate with prosecution, that's your right. You are the victim. The victim. Everyone kept saying that, like it was supposed to make me feel better. Like slapping a label on my forehead would patch the hole in my life. Mom looked at me then. Really looked at me. Her eyes were raw. I'll plead guilty, she said quietly. If it means they leave you alone, I'll say whatever they want. You should have thought of that 18 years ago, I said. Her face crumpled. It was the first time in my life I saw her look small. Detective Harris called later with logistics. There's going to be media attention, he warned. You might want to stay with someone else for a few days. Like who? I asked. Everyone I know is outside taking selfies with your squad car. He hesitated. Valerie and Daniel offered. You don't have to, but they said they'd like you to see where they live, just for a few days, I don't know. Get to know each other. The idea of staying with strangers who were technically my parents made me want to throw up and also weirdly hopeful. Mom heard the conversation and went pale. You're not taking him, she said. You can't just walk in and... I'm not a lamp, Mom, I snapped. You don't get to keep me because you had me in your house first. Her mouth opened and closed. She looked at me like I'd reached into her chest and rearranged her organs. Go, she whispered finally. See their world. I don't get to ask you to choose me. It should have made it easier. It didn't. The Price's house was the kind of place you see in realtor ads. Big porch, actual grass, a mailbox that wasn't zip-tied back together. It smelled like cinnamon and laundry detergent, which honestly felt like a personal attack after the day I'd had. Valerie hovered like she wanted to hug me, but kept stopping herself, like she was respecting a 6-foot invisible restraining order of emotions. We put you in the guest room, she said. Well, it was your nursery originally, but we changed it. We can show you photos if you want, or not. Whatever you want. Everything she said ended with whatever you want, like a verbal apology. Dinner was... surreal. Daniel grilled chicken. There were placemats. My little brother and sister, Eli, 14, and Sophie, 11, peeked at me like I was a zoo exhibit. So you like video games? Eli asked finally. Yeah, I said. You? He shrugged. Mostly sports ones. Mom says you play the, He glanced at her. The violent ones. Valerie flushed. I didn't say it like that. Sophie poked a green bean around on her plate. Do you remember being here? She asked. Like, as a baby? No, I said. I barely remember last Tuesday. She nodded like that made sense. After dinner, Valerie dug out photo albums. They were filled with baby pictures that stopped abruptly at 6 days old. You had colic, she said, tracing a photo of my red, screaming face. We walked you around the house all night. Your dad memorized every infomercial from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Daniel smiled faintly. I hated that stupid ShamWow guy. They laughed, then went quiet, remembering there are 12 million missing pictures between that page and me sitting on their couch. Can I ask you something? I said. Why didn't you have more kids sooner? Daniel's jaw tightened. We tried, he said, for years, but it always felt like we were replacing you or giving up on you. We didn't want to do that. Also, IVF is expensive, Valerie added, trying to make it light. We sold a car. Guess who you get to blame for your student loans? I laughed, startled. It sounded too loud in their tidy living room. Later, lying in the too-soft guest bed, I stared at the ceiling and tried to imagine my life with these people instead. Private soccer leagues, pediatric dentists, vacations that didn't involve budget motels, and Mom flirting her way into discounts. Would I still be me? Or some other version, less sharp, less suspicious, maybe less funny. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. You okay? 2 words. No guilt trips, no threats. Just that. I stared at the screen a long time before replying. House smells weirdly nice. They have placemats. Send help. She responded with a crying, laughing emoji. It hit me harder than anything else that day. The next morning, Detectives Harris and Monroe came by for follow-up questions. I gave them the timeline of my entire life like it was a book report. Schools, addresses, doctor visits. Things that might matter in court. Did you ever suspect? Monroe asked. Anything unusual about your birth story? I thought about the one hospital photo, how Mom never talked about being pregnant exactly, just about when you came to me, how we didn't have family around, no grandparents telling baby stories, how she ignored every "you look just like your mom" comment with a tight smile. No, I said, I didn't suspect, I thought we were just us. I didn't say the rest, that sometimes I'd look at friends with flat, boring families and feel secretly proud of our little 2-person circus. That I'd thought our messiness made us special. Now it just made us evidence. When they left, Valerie caught me in the hallway. You don't have to decide anything right now, she said. Where you live, what you call us. You can take as much time as you need. Cool, I said, because my decision-making skills are currently on back order. She smiled, then hesitated. Can I... She gestured vaguely at my head. Can I hug you, just once? If it's weird, we never have to do it again. I nodded. Her hug was careful, like she was holding something fragile. My mom's hugs were all elbows and too tight squeezes and perfume. This felt different. Not better, not worse, just unfamiliar. I didn't cry. I also didn't pull away. Progress, I guess. Here's the part where I'm supposed to tell you it all worked out. That my abductor mom got a light sentence and we braid each other's hair on weekends in the visiting room. That my bio parents and I bonded instantly. And now I call them mom and dad and we do game night. Reality is messier. My mom, Melissa, legally took a plea deal. Kidnapping, fraud, time served plus 5 years probation, mandated therapy. Everybody online had opinions. Half the internet thought she should rot in prison. The other half wrote she raised him. That's his real mom in all caps, like that made it less of a felony. I visited her every week at first. Sometimes we talked about court stuff. Sometimes we just watched trash TV in her tiny apartment and yelled at the contestants like nothing had changed. But it had. The word kidnapper sits in the room with us even when we're laughing. My scholarship got put under review. For a while it looked like they'd yank it because my documents were fraudulent, as if I'd personally forged them with my chubby baby hands. Then someone in PR realized college revokes kidnapped kids scholarship was not the headline they wanted. I got to keep it under my new old name. College is weird. Half the people there know me as that kidnapped baby from the news. The other half just think Price is a boring last name and that I talk about my therapist too much. Valerie and Daniel come to some of my soccer games. Eli texts me memes. Sophie sends me TikToks and calls me bro every third sentence like she's testing how it feels in her mouth. I don't live with them, but I go there for holidays sometimes. We're like distant relatives who are trying out being immediate family. I still call Melissa mom. I also call Valerie mom. It's confusing and occasionally hilarious. Once at a doctor's appointment I said, my mom said, and both of them answered. The nurse nearly broke her neck trying to keep a neutral face. Therapy is a full-time side quest. I've got a woman named Karen, unfortunate I know, who specializes in identity trauma, which is apparently a thing. We talk a lot about how two things can be true at once. I am the victim of a crime. I am loved by the person who committed it. My life was ruined in the sense that the old version blew up completely. The name, the story, the idea of where I came from, all of it got wiped like a corrupted save file. But ruined isn't the whole story. The night before I left for college, I sat on Melissa's sagging couch. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her, twisting her hands in her lap. You know you don't have to visit me, she said suddenly. Once you get busy, I won't be mad if you move on. You deserve a normal life. I stared at her, at the woman who taught me to tie my shoes and make perfectly crisp grilled cheese and avoid landlords named Doug. You really think I'm ever getting normal back? I asked. That ship sailed, crashed, and was turned into a Netflix documentary. She huffed a laugh, eyes shiny. You always were dramatic, but I'm still your kid, I said, whether I like it or not. And you're still my mom, whether I like it or not. She swallowed hard. Do you like it? I thought about it, really thought. You ruined my life, I said. She flinched. But you also made it, so I guess we're stuck with each other. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, maybe not ever, not in the storybook way, but it was honest, so yeah. My mother told me a secret on my 18th birthday that nuked my entire existence from orbit. For a while, I walked around feeling like a glitch in the system, a clerical error in human form. Now, I'm just Jason, Price, Lewis, both, neither, kidnapped baby, college student, guy who overshares in group chat. My life got ruined, sure. Then I kept going and built another one on top of the wreckage. Turns out that's what humans do. We patch, we improvise, we carry the weight of terrible choices, our own and other people's, and somehow still manage to laugh at memes. And every year on my birthday, both my moms call me. They both say, I'm so glad you were born. The rest is complicated, but that part is simple enough to keep.